Welcome back. Now, agitations for a president from the Igbo extraction seems to be gaining more grounds as Southeast political leaders are wooing major political parties to zone their presidential tickets to the region. Now, arising from a political meeting hosted by the former governor of Abia State, Orji Uzor Kalu, in his country home, Igbo leaders across political parties agreed to put their differences aside to ensure that Nigeria's president in 2023 now comes from the southeastern region. The Igbo leaders say it is the only zone in the south that is yet to produce a president in the current democratic dispensation. And so zoning the country's top seat to the region would be in the interest of equity and national unity and, of course, justice. The quest received a major boost with a statement by former governor of Ogun State and chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Olusegun Ochoba, who recently said a gentleman's agreement was actually reached prior to the 2015 election, and that that gentleman's agreement was that power should shift to the south of the country, that is in 2023. Now, Muhammadu Buhari's tenure, that's after Muhammadu Buhari's tenure. So the big question is 2023, or is an Igbo presidency now feasible in 2023? Joining me now to discuss this is the national chairman of the African Action Congress, AAC, Leonard Nzenwa, who joins us via Skype from Umuahia in Abia State. Thank you very much, Mr. Nzenwa, for joining us on the program. Look, thanks. So much has been said. So much has been said about the need for the presidency in 2023 now to go to the southeast of the country. But looking at that recent meeting now that took place in Abia State, hosted by, of course, the former governor of Abia State and the current chief whip of the Senate, not all the Igbo leaders actually attended that meeting. That's just the truth. Do you think we are going to have a situation now where the southeastern political leadership now would speak with one voice and make their case?
DEJI, thank you very much. I think you just really nailed it on the head. Fairness, equity, and national unity. Let me just put it that way. It should be the word we should be using now. Well, not all Igbos will be in the meeting that was convened by Chief Orji Uzor Kalu. I was not in that meeting, and a whole lot of Igbo people were not in that meeting. But it is an effort directed for the right purpose. If we want to be fair, if we want to be just, if we want to be upright about it, we need to say that it's time we'll have a president of Igbo extraction or a president from the southeast. I do not speak under the banner of AAC. I do not speak under the banner of IPAC. IPAC is the Inter-Party Advisory Council of Nigeria, that I'm also the national chairman, the whole body of political parties in Nigeria. I speak as a conscientious Nigerian. I speak as somebody that opposes political moral. I speak as somebody that believes in equity and fairness. If we want to tread that to that line, I think it is eminent, it is very, very imperative that we have a president of Igbo extraction. This is my personal opinion, and this is something we need to do if we want to move forward.
But in your own assessment now, do you think the Southeast is doing enough to get the presidency? Because the truth is that, look, whether we like it or not, for the presidency to actually come to the Southeast, well, Southeastern politicians would have to work for it. So, I mean, power is never given a la carte anyway.
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, your understanding on your appreciation for what doing enough means is very relative. Many people can be very loud in the way they approach competing for competitive political office. Everybody has his own style. Everybody has his own way of doing it and all that. I think the forces, the political gladiators in the Igbo land also have a way of doing it. Oftentimes, we've had situations where they say they're not putting their legs in the same pool. However, we know the alignment of political forces, there are permutations, there are political parametrics that are quibbling in all areas. What we need to understand is, given the circumstances under which we find ourselves, I tell you, at the right time, the Igbos will always find a way to get themselves out. What I want to say is that the style other geopolitical units are using might be completely different from what the Igbos use. Of course, you know that the Igbos are a separate set of people. The Southerners are a completely separate set of people. I am very sure that when it comes to that time, they will definitely get their acts together.
But it's also quite surprising that at this time, yes, it's true, this is 2021, but we can't deny the fact that we are seeing so much noise too from other parts of the south of the country. For instance, in the southwest of the country, people, I mean, those who are interested are already indicating interest openly. Even from the north of the country, it's open secret that the former vice president of this country, Atiku Abubakar, wants to run for this office again in 2023. But we cannot say that of politicians who are interested in the East. Why are they not coming out? Why are they not coming out, to indicate their interest to want to run?
Yeah, DEJI, I can tell you as a political leader now in this country, I can tell you a number of politicians have gotten across to me from the Eastern extraction, and we're talking very, very candidly. I think the strategy this time is completely different. Yes, people like a whole lot of people will come out. I understand that people like Atiku is coming out. I hear that Tinubu is also warming up to come out. A lot of politicians are coming out. But what we're doing in the East now is to see how we can get our acts together before we begin to trumpet it out. It does not mean that that style is flawed. It doesn't mean so. It doesn't mean that the earlier noise making or the earlier positioning is the best way to approach these things. The people from the East have a separate historical region and all that. We are working at the background there, and I tell you that problem time will get that. The noise will be made that when it's supposed to be made. And at the time, the strategic goal will be scored at when it's supposed to be scored.
Now, the reason I asked you... sorry to interject. The reason I asked you that question is because recently, the former governor of Ogun State, Olusegun Oshaba, I did mention him in my intro now, came out to say, look, yes, he's heard a lot from the Southeast, that a lot of, talk about the need for the presidency to go to the Southeast, but that no politician from the Southeast has actually approached him to say they are interested in running.
Yes, Oshaba is many Nigerians. Oshaba is one of many political leaders we have in Nigeria. There are several other political leaders. I can tell you for sure that I've been consulted on several grounds by several politicians from the Eastern extraction. We cannot say on television here, on cable, or where we're just talking now, there are not other things that are going on. Many politicians from the Eastern extractions are also talking to across sections of political leaders across the country. When it is time, just about 2 weeks ago, a young Nigerian, a man from the East, approached me. We talked extensively. We had about 2 hours chat on this matter and all that. People are consulting widely. I think when it is
but
time,
don't you think more still needs to be done? From more is still required of this Southeastern politicians in terms of...
I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100% that more needs to be done. I agree with you 100% to be done. But it is not the same as saying that nothing is not being done, because that's the message I'm getting. I agree with you that more needs to be done. Considering where we are coming from, considering the background of all the whole political history of this country, considering that we are a people that have seen not to put our acts together when it comes to ascending high political offices of that magnitude, we've learned our lessons, and that is being what we're trying to correct in-house. Of course, Orji's Okalu's meeting is a full step in that direction. There are also several meetings that are going across different length and breadth of the Eastern land where these things are holding up. And I think at the appropriate time, they will come out. We need to do more. I agree with you 100%. We need to do more, and that's something we are also working on.
Another question I would want to ask you is, would you expect that Igbo politicians in the various political parties, especially even in your own party, the APC and the PDP, would you expect them that by now they should begin to reach out to members of their party from other geopolitical zones, for instance? Take, for instance, don't you think that by now, and I always think that way, that I expect that by now, Peter Obi, for instance, the vice presidential candidate of the PDP in the 2019 general election, ought to have reached out to Atiku Abubakar, to make him see reason why he should drop his ambition and support maybe a Peter Obi, for instance, from the Southeast, support him to become the president instead of going ahead with his own political ambition. Don't you expect to see that kind of thing taking place?
Yeah, nice idea from you, DJ. Very nice idea. I have repeatedly pointed out in this program that one thing you need to know that a lot of permutations are going on. Forces are realigning, and people are also looking at various issues on how to come together to work towards this Igbo presidency. Now, the political leg in is on already. Yes, if that kind of strategy can be adopted personally by Peter Obi, it's not a bad one at all. But what I can tell you is that we've been in series of consultations across different spectrum. As the leader of political parties in Nigeria, I've had several meetings across the different folds on why there's a need for us, not because of Igbo presidency, for us to uphold, the values of ethics.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's not because of Igbo presidency. It's essentially fairness, equity, and justice. That's essentially where we are around. So we need to agree that first and foremost, if we don't oppose such values, political values in this country, we might have issues around it. It is a gentleman agreement that started with PDP. But what we have seen so far is that it has played out pretty very well when they've agreed on that, and that is working out very well. Now, if we try to unsettle this, if we try to upturn this, it might have a lot of political problems or challenges we have in this country. So it is better for every politician, every political stakeholder in this country to work towards it, because if that is not done, we'll have a lot of challenges in this country, and it's not a good thing for us. So I will call on all politicians in this country to let them get their personal agenda, personal interest. Let us work towards for this, because it will help this polity to stabilize. I tell you, one of the things that has happened so far that I took over as the leader of political parties in Nigeria is to elevate the status of political parties and politicians in this country. And we're doing what we call a moral fabric engineering in that direction. You need to understand that a politician is a human being, first of all. You need to understand that a politician is a human being, first of all, becoming a politician. And so you have those components, those ingredients, those variables that make a human being to also be present. However, it's not only akin to only Nigeria. We saw what is happening out in the United States of America, where Donald Trump is finding it difficult to even leave the office when he knows he's been defeated. So it's not a Nigerian issue. It is something that is a DNA of politicians across the globe. So we should not only locate it within Nigerian context. However, there's a need for us as the leader of political parties in this country. I always emphasize that if you don't in any way tame your selfish ambition, selfish motives, you are going to run and hit the brick wall. And that's what we need to do now. Every one of us need to descale the selfish interest that we're having. Whether you're from the north, whether you're from the south, whether you're from the west, we need to descale this, because if we don't descale this, we'll have these agitations, we'll have these challenges. Of course, we know we have myriads of issues around these countries. This country has fallen under what the social scientists have, ably called the wicked problems. Nigeria has a larger portion of these wicked problems, befalling us in all directions. So we seem to be having our buckets filled of all problems and all challenges. We've got to take this as a big step. Let us work on getting fairness, equity, and justice. I still emphasize fairness, equity, and justice. Not because I'm from the AAC as the leader of AAC, no. Not because I'm the leader of PDP, no. I am saying it as a Nigerian. For us to move this country forward, either we like it or not, we'll have a date with equity and fairness and justice. And if this is not done, I fear there might be issues in this country. And so it is time every politician in this country discales their selfish interests, and let us work together to get an arrangement where all the interests, especially on geopolitical and ethnic level, will be synced in such a way that it becomes for the benefit of every person. That's my submission.
Well, Leonard Nzangwa, chairman of AAC, and of course the chairman of IPAC as well. Thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, DEJI, for having me on your program.
Thank you very much. Well, we'll take a short break now, and we'll be right back. On DEJI360, we don't just ask the questions. What is wrong with amending the Constitution the way the National Assembly members have been doing it? We seek answers.
Constitution is constituent. Our problem is not lack of laws. Our problem is lack of the willpower to implement our laws.
Answers that provide clarity.
While we negotiate, we should try to make it a point that The girls must be complete.
The clarity you need to make informed judgment so that you can make the right decision and take action. People are saying it is you politicians that are responsible for this, that you are the reason why this is happening.
All these dollars that call themselves governors in this country.
I wish we had people like Tony at the National Assembly.
God forbid that I go to join that band.
DEJI360, providing clarity to issues.